Hey, welcome. Just got off work, getting ready to dive into the Word yet again. To reiterate, um, my lady and I are going through the book of Mark every day. We have finished Mark 1 through 3, moving on to Mark 4, and tomorrow will be 5. And so on. So in about there's 16 chapters in Mark. So what is it? 12 days now we'll be finished, I believe. Yeah, 12 days and we'll be finished. So a little under 2 weeks. If you come back every day, you'll be finished with the Gospel of Mark in a little under 2 weeks from now. And I think that's pretty good. So without further ado, if you want to join me in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 4, we're going to be talking about the parable of the sower. And again, Jesus began to teach by the sea, and a great multitude was gathered to him, so that he got into a boat and sat in it on the sea. And the whole multitude was on the land facing the sea. So there were so many people that they just lined up on the shoreline, and Jesus had to excuse himself away from them onto a boat so he could preach to a whole multitude. Just imagine so many people sitting on the shoreline just listening to Jesus preach. Mark 4:2, then he taught them many things by parables and said to them in his teaching, listen, behold, a sower went out to sow, or like a farmer. And it happened, as he sowed, that some seed fell by the wayside, and the birds of the air came and devoured it. Some fell on stony ground, where it did not have much earth, and immediately it sprang up because it had no depth of the earth. But when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. And some seed fell among the thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no crop. But other seed fell on good ground, and yielded a crop that sprang up, increased, and produced some 30-fold, some 60-fold, and some 100. And he said to them, he who has ears to hear, let him hear. Mark 4:10, the purpose of parables. But when Jesus was alone, those around him with the 12 asked him about the parable. And he said to them, to you it has been given to know the mystery of the kingdom of God, but to those who are outside, all things come in parables, so that seeing they may see and not perceive, and hearing they may hear and not understand, lest they should turn and their sins be forgiven them. So essentially, I feel that that's very well spoken. Of course, he's God. But seeing what's on the surface, I was thinking about this earlier. I'm very fortunate, very grateful that the Lord has blessed me with the eyes to see beyond the surface. So he preaches in parables to give the elect something more to chew on. It's more, I feel it's more intimate that he speaks in parables, and us being able to look at these parables and be, oh my goodness, that this makes complete sense, at least in my opinion. It makes sense to me when it's talking about the sower and the seeds being people in different situations. You know what I mean? So he speaks in parables to kind of allow those with the eyes to see and the ears to hear to see beyond the surface. But to those who can't see it or can't hear it, all they see is the surface level of, oh, what is he saying? It doesn't matter. We'll move on. So it's just it gives it depth. And those that are able to see it will see it. And I think that's very beautiful. It's kind of intimate. So good on us for, being able to see it. Thank the Lord as well. Mark 4, verse 13, the parable of the sower explained. And he said to them, do you not understand this parable? How then will you understand all the parables? The sower sows the word. And these are the ones by the wayside where the word is sown. When they hear, Satan comes immediately and takes away the word that was sown in their hearts. These likewise are the ones sown on stony ground, who when they hear the word, immediately receive it with gladness, and they have no root in themselves, and so endure only for a time. Afterward, when tribulation or persecution arises for the word's sake, immediately they stumble. Now these are the ones sown among thorns. They are the ones who hear the word, and the cares or the riches, the cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches, and the desires for other things entering in, choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. But these are the ones sown on good ground. Those who hear the word, accept it, and bear fruit, some 30-fold, some 60-fold, and some 100. There you have it. Beautiful. Satan comes, immediately takes it. The ones thrown on rocks have no root in the word, so it just quickly, or not quickly, but it dissolves over a period of time where they just fall back into their sinful habits because they don't have it in their heart. The ones who are rooted in thorns, they say they're Christians, but then, when money comes their way or other desires, they quickly throw Jesus to the wayside, and they chase money, they chase women, they chase fame, they chase this and that, you know what I mean? It's kind of a scary analogy, and I strive to be the one sown on good ground. I know I have it in my heart, so I'm going to keep following the straight and narrow. Mark 4:21, light under a basket. Also, Jesus said to them, is a lamp brought to be put under a basket or under a bed? Is it not to be set on a lampstand? For there is nothing hidden which will not be revealed, nor has anything been kept secret, but that it should come to light. If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear. In my opinion, I feel that means the truth will always be revealed eventually. You see that in the news, like with everything going on in the government, I guess. Can't really get away with lies. It's all going to come out eventually. All of it. That's one way to look at it, I suppose. Talking about setting on the lampstand, nothing can hide when the light is there, there is no shadows to hide in. Mark 4:24, then Jesus said to them, take heed what you hear. With the same measure you use, it will be measured to you. And to you who hear, more will be given. For whoever has, to him more will be given. But whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken away from him. Wow. 4:26, the parable of this growing seed. And he said, the kingdom of God is if man should scatter seed on the ground, and should sleep by night and rise by day, and the seed should sprout and grow. He himself does not know how, for the earth yields crop by itself. First the blade, then the head after, that the full grain in the head. First the blade, then the head after, that the full grain in the head. But when the grain ripens, immediately he puts in the sickle, because the harvest has come. That is a bit, I might have to read that again. The kingdom of God is as if a man should scatter seeds on the ground, and should sleep by night and rise by day, and the seed should sprout and grow. He himself does not know how, for the earth yields crops by itself. First the blade, tilling of the ground, then the head after. First the blade, then the head. After that, full grain in the head. Okay, so it's just talking about how it's growing. Silly me. But when the grain ripens, immediately he puts in the sickle, because the harvest has come. Parable of the mustard seed. Then he said, to what shall we liken the kingdom of God? Or with what parable shall we picture it? It is like a mustard seed, in which when it is sown in the ground, smaller than all seeds on the earth, which is true, mustard seed is the smallest. But when it is sown, it grows up and becomes greater than all herbs and shoots out large branches so that all the birds of the air may nest under its shade. So essentially is talking about planting seeds in people, because the seeds take time to grow. So if you talk to somebody about the Lord Jesus Christ and the kingdom of heaven and, his work on the cross, it might not hit immediately, but you planted that seed in their heart, and over time, potentially the Lord will send even more people, just here and there, little spurts here and there, and that seed will begin to sprout. And once that seed grows, that seed will produce fruit, meaning they also will go out and talk to people. Mark 4:33, and with many such parables he spoke the word to them as they were able to hear it. But without a parable he did not speak to them. And when they were alone, he explained all things to his disciples. Mark 4:35, wind and waves obey Jesus. On the same day, when evening had come, he said to them, let us cross over to the other side. So they're still along that coastline where he first preached. Now when they had left the multitude, they took him along in the boats as he was, and other little boats were also with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat so that it was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on a pillow. Jesus was in the stern, which is under, asleep on a pillow. And they woke him and said to him, Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? And he arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. But Jesus said to his disciples, Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith? And they feared exceedingly, and said to one another, Who can this be, that even the wind and the sea obey him? Still developing that faith that Jesus Christ is God in the flesh. Thank you for joining. That was Mark chapter 4. Tomorrow I'll be filming Mark chapter 5. And then, like I said, so on until we finish all of Mark. 12 more days and we're good. Thank you for studying, and we'll see you soon. See ya.